What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us today on the Unconditional Podcast, whether you're watching us through Facebook, through YouTube, or whatever platform. We thank you for watching and listening. This is where we empower you to overcome unhealthy conditioning, to rest in your true identity, and to set healthy boundaries. And we do all this by sharing real and raw stories and expert secrets to help you as entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Rabbi Michael Schoening. Our first sponsor is Planet Duct, Southern Colorado's best air duct cleaning company. They even clean my home's air ducts and dryer vents. They're also certified by the National Air Duct Cleaners Association. When it comes to your family's lung health, hire the best. Check them out today and book them today at planetduct.com. My guest today is James. What's up, James? Thanks for jumping in and joining us today.
Absolutely, brother. How you doing? Good to be here.
So good, man. Now, tell us what projects have been keeping you busy lately.
Man, I tell you this, of course, I, have a business here in Dallas, it's a tax service company. We do a lot of tax planning. That has been keeping me and my whole entire team completely busy. We just launched a new office over in Portland, Maine, so that we're going to be doing a grand opening on January 7th. So I'm excited about that, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So does that mean I won't see you January 8th?
Yeah, you definitely won't see me at all. Just letting you know.
We've got I was considering going. It's in Vegas, the Ultimate Speaker Competition alumni competition.
Yeah, so. That is true. That's true. I'm actually going to be, the wildest thing is I'm actually going to be flying into a country, so I'm coming back from Africa and I'll be flying straight in New York and then go to the opening on the 7th. And then from there I'll be making my way back home. So I'll be gone. I'm leaving on Sunday or Monday.
Okay. Are you going to see family or?
Well, that's the other project that we're working on right now, but I'm not a full disclosure at the moment.
Oh, okay. Now, so that's going to be episode 2. Okay. James Aquila is going to be, what's going on in Africa. I'm excited for that. I'm also very excited, and Mazel Tov, congratulations for your expansion into Portland, Maine. That's awesome. I've been telling you, hey, if you get in Colorado Springs, I'll do everything I can do to help you with the state of Colorado get things going. And one thing about taxes is, in my view, is it's a very chaotic, untrustworthy world where the IRS is this big bad guy, and I'm kind of freaking out. Yeah. But to have people that you love and you can trust on your team. I mean, if you hated your attorney, you'd probably not be great in court, right? So sometimes it can feel like, it's the end of the year right now. What's your top suggestions for people in business who have business accounts, business accounting, personal? Is there any big changes coming up in 2023 we need to prepare for?
I mean, I would say this, in the world of taxes, of course, in generic, when it comes down to, overall, planning ahead is always going to be your best bet, right? That's where the tax planning comes into play. The way I like to play it, put it is playing chess, not checkers, right? Playing chess, not checkers. It gives you the ability to already have structure in place before the next move even comes. And so as we're going into a whole new year, we still got about 11 more days before the year is completely over. My suggestion would be definitely look at review your numbers, review your P&L, talk with your CPAs like, hey, what have we not done already? What deductions have we not utilized to, that we can use to help lower our tax liability overall? Because once the date, once the 31st crosses, once it strikes midnight, it's done, right? It's game over. Whatever you did or whatever you were hoping to do is no longer valid, whatever. Yeah. Right. So my suggestion is definitely review the last minute reviewing right now would be a great option for you. It could save you a few $1,000s if you by doing that. Just a few things. I'll give some few tips here as far as something that you can do right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's powerful. I think especially in business, right? It's a whole different world. And then when we have business taxes and personal taxes, some of us also have nonprofit things we're looking at. Obviously we're not doing the taxes with the nonprofit, but we have to give out the giving receipts for the donations, and we have to make sure everything's clean. It's interesting to feel like we're such in a free country, but to feel like, man, I'm a free country, but if I mess up, I could go to prison.
No, the IRS, they talk about how almost about 84% of taxpayers actually overpay on their taxes.
What? 80%.
84. The number goes even more. It goes even higher when you actually own a business that you overpay. So remember this, right? A refund is basically you overpaid something. If I go to Walmart and I have a $20 bill in my hand, and then of course the price of whatever item I was purchasing is $10, then I am due a refund of $10, right? So whenever we file our taxes every single year, that's what we're doing. And so when you say, hey, I got a refund, it's not money that the government gave you. It's mainly you have some credit if you have children and things of that nature, and you overpaid as well. So that now you're getting your money back. But so that's the biggest part, man. At least over 84% overpaid. And so they actually encourage you to find every single legal ways to reduce your taxes as possible.
James, I've never heard this perspective when it comes to taxes, and I love how you put it in a transactionary model. If $20, it's 10, I get 10 back. Well, obviously, we got 8.25% sales tax in Colorado Springs, so a little bit less, but it's, I love the way and it's always been interesting to me when people say, oh, I got my refund back, I got $1,500 and it's extra money, so I'm gonna go get myself a new TV, I'm gonna put it as a down payment for this new sports car, I'm gonna blow it on, I'm gonna go to a cruise, all this. And I'm thinking, like, this isn't extra money, this isn't a gift from the government, this is your money. You dummy.
Let them have it. You let them have it for the whole entire year at an interest-free money, basically.
Wow.
So imagine I come to you and say, hey, listen, I'm going to give you my money and you can hold it for a whole entire year. And then next year, just give it back to me. No interest.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. See, here's the rule of the game is this. You're either paying interest or you're giving up interest, right? Yeah. That's whenever we getting a refund, that's really what it boils down to. So our priority as far as our company is that we're always focusing on having a strategy in place to say, okay, look, how do we stay in compliance and then not overpaid, not give Uncle Sam a penny more than he deserves, right? I mean, hey, I do believe in making sure the roads are clean and the pavements are done properly. But at the same time, I don't have to overpay every single year. And so the people that pay the most in taxes are the uninformed. So the more informed that you are, the more you're able to take more responsibility and things like when it comes to this. Yeah.
Now, I want to know the short version, of course, but I want to know the story of. I know at one point in your life, you're there, you're drinking water. There's a crocodile. And you got to run from some lions, and you're just booking it through the middle of absolute.
You would bring that story up, huh? You would definitely.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, like, so how do we get from? You said, how did you get from running from lions?
Yeah.
Which I'm so glad that they lost. I just want to say that.
I love your sarcasm.
How did we get from running from lions from running a powerful company?
Yeah. Well, I would say this is that, it's not about where you come from, it's about where you're going, right? I'd say this a lot of time is that, I wasn't born from a wealthy family, but a wealthy family will be born from me, right?
Yeah, love that.
And so in that aspect, you just said, okay, what is it that you want to achieve? What's the vision that you have? I remember when I was born, of course, I was born in South Sudan, Yambio, South Sudan. That's my hometown. That's actually, that's where I'll be in a couple of days. But whenever I was born, we had a refugee, there was a civil war that was going on. So we grew up in a refugee camp. I remember since it's Christmas time, right? I remember some of my best memories was during Christmas at a refugee camp. It's the weirdest thing, right? I come here, you have all the things that you can possibly think of, all the gifts, and I can still remember till this day. Some of my best memories was actually at a refugee camp. When you're a kid and you don't have none, you don't know that you don't have, right?
Wow, that's right.
That's the weirdest part. So we went from there. Taxes has always been something that I know that all of us have to do, right? So whenever I was in the military, I served 8 years in the Marines. But prior to getting out, I started looking at different career paths to venture into, and someone filed my taxes and they made like $800, or I think it was like $600 or $800 filing my taxes. And it took him like an hour. I was like, okay, you might be onto something right there. Let me see, right? Talk to me. So I was able to sit down with the owners of the tax company at the time, and I told them, I said, look, I'm hungry, I'm young, and one thing I have is a lot of energy. If you're willing to teach me, I'm willing to learn. And so I remember they said this. They said, first you learn, then you remove the L, right? First you learn, then you remove the L. I didn't know at the time. I was like, yeah, of course. But then, one of the things I know about life is that when you learn something, it's hard to take that away from you. But when somebody give you something, you would always want them to give you more. But a true teacher is someone who teaches you what they know and wants you to be better than them. And not really more of like, hey, I know more. It's more like, hey, if I'm not available, you can still do what I do and not, and
Right.
to your own capacity. And so the enrolled agents and the CPAs that I was working with directly, they took me under their wings and they taught me everything that they knew. And until this day, I'm extremely grateful for them, for doing that for me.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love that there's that concept I feel could be used in really anything in life. Learn before you earn. It's sometimes we want to jump into something, and a lot of people want to get rich quick kind of thing, and there's a lot of people going out there trying to buy the Powerball tickets, and I'm thinking, you didn't earn that, you didn't learn it, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And when we don't deserve something and then it's put in our hands, often we mess it up.
Yeah, of course. We didn't take the time to develop the mindset. See, the thing I love about millionaires, right, is not that they have $1 million, is that they have developed $1 million mindset.
That's right.
So you can take all of that from them, and they'll be able to develop.
They can do it again.
Exactly. So you gotta build your mindset to that point.
Yeah, I love that. It's an identity thing, with unconditional as a philosophy, and in my book, The Unwind, which if anybody wants, you can go ahead and message me, send you a digital copy for $10. 30-day evening devotional for the entrepreneurial mind. We specifically talk about identity before purpose. And I think people, when they like the vision board, like I like the idea of the vision board, right? But it's like, well, how you gonna get there? Like you've got pictures of a nice boat and a beautiful spouse and all these things and a big house and Rolexes, and you cut these out of a magazine, you print them off your computer, you tape them or you glue them to a board and you stick it on the wall, and I go, great, that is Z. What's ABC? Well, if I think it, I can do it. I believe you. If you believe you, I believe you. But what are you gonna do next? And it's like, no, what are those steps? What are those steps to get there? There's a lot of education, a lot of learning, a lot of processes that need to be understood. There's a lot of self and mental limitations that need to be overcome. But that's where we recognize we have been conditioned. I don't come from a wealthy family. I love that line, though. I don't come from a wealthy family, but from me will come wealthy family. I love that. I'm gonna steal that. I'm not gonna pay you for it, but it's.
Man, I was about to say my invoice is on the way. It's
already. Okay, fine. I'll pay for the first one. It's like an NFT. I'll just pay for it once. But there's a. I'll tell you, man, I love it. It's that process of recognizing that we have been conditioned by even loved ones, right? Family, churches, synagogues, whatever it is growing up. But we have been conditioned, public school, right, to be military, to be limited in a lot of these things that we can do and who we are. But when we are willing to recognize and then uncondition from that, we can recondition and become unconditional. And I love that you mentioned that a millionaire mindset prior to being a millionaire. Now, here's my problem: is $1 million isn't that much anymore.
No, it's not.
Right? It's really not much. The average house right now in Colorado Springs is like $480. Wow. So if you were to just buy a home, that's half of your $1 million gone.
Yeah.
Right? Poof. There we go. And now what? Now you got your bills. You got to fix stuff up. You got to get your car. You got to do all the stuff. Something happens, a big medical emergency, a big change in your life. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
So what's the billionaire mindset? What's that? How do we get there? How do we get to the billionaire mindset?
I think, one thing that that when I stop and I start to think backward, right? Steve Jobs once said, I once heard him say this on YouTube. He says that, it's hard for us to connect the dot looking forward, but we can always connect the dot looking backward.
That's right.
Seeing how every event has led to where we
Yeah.
are today. Now, one thing I've realized is that, the biggest thing that we need to do is identify what is it that we want. And once you identify what you want, okay, assume that you have it. I mean, we talk about the Bible and we say that, it says when you pray, believe that you already have it, right? That you already have it. Because here's the wildest thing. When I was at the refugee camp, I remember this, right? What till this day, vividly in my mind, I could see me as a young boy. I'm standing under a mango tree and I'm looking up in the air, and I saw this white line, this white line in the air. At the time, I didn't know what that was. And then, of course, a couple years later, I realized that when a plane is flying in the air, that's, it's the white line you see behind is the clouds being pierced by the plane, right? But at the time, I visualized myself being on that plane, taking me to a place far away. And I visualize myself, doing it. And then a couple of years later, I find myself on that, on a plane coming to America, right? Yeah. Now, it was 2017, 2018, 2017. I'm doing a research on Iraq, and I don't know why, because this day, I still don't know why I was doing a research on Iraq, but I found myself looking at this restaurant in Zanzibar. I didn't even know there was a place called Zanzibar until I started doing this research, right? I find this restaurant built on a rock in the ocean. So you have to you got to drive to the beach, get on a canoe, and then go to that restaurant, and then you get to eat. And as I'm staring at it, I was so fascinated. And then I printed out that picture, and I would picture myself literally sitting in that restaurant and eating, just breathing the air. 2019, I'm staring on the beach, looking at that restaurant, right? And all I could do is just smile and laugh because, all I thought at the time is that your mindset, have brought you to this point.
Yeah.
Right? Now, how did I get there? I mean, of course, hard work plays in everything, because you can't expect what you don't expect. You cannot say, hey, I want this, but then you just sit back and don't do anything to achieve it. Right. But the biggest challenge I see, I think a lot of people need to do is that, man, what is it that you want, right? What is it that you really truly want? Because if a lot of people would say, man, I want $1 million. Well, okay, what is $1 million? Define to me a life that you live right now that costs $1 million. What are you driving? What are you living? How much are you putting into your savings or investment account? What kind of school are your children going into? What does that life look like? But it's so the biggest reason why I feel people don't get what they want is because their dreams is so vague.
They don't know what they want.
Exactly. And because you don't, and because you don't know what you want, you don't get it at all.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Zig Ziglar said something like, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but it's something like, if you don't have a target, you're going to hit it if you don't have a target, you're going to hit it every time. Something like that. Like if you don't have a goal, you're going to hit that goal every time of not having a goal. It's that old adage, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. And Absolutely. So I love that. And then because then you could actually make those practical steps to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's huge. And even in my life, I have these things that I want to do. I've been talking for 10 years about publishing a book. Yeah. And finally I was like, the unwind, I just need to make it happen.
Yeah.
I just need to make it happen. It's not that big. It's a 30-day devotional, but lives are being changed. I just went through my own devotional. It messed me up. So I'll tell you, James, we're out of time, bro, but I love you, man. And I loved being on that stage with you at the Ultimate Speaking Competition here in Colorado. A year ago now.
It's been a whole year. It's been a while.
A year. Yeah. I look forward to the next time. And man, I appreciate we've been following up with each other. I look forward to the next time we get to hang out in person and have some laughs and embarrass each other a little bit in public. I love like brothers do, right?
Absolutely.
And I love your story. I love what you've done with it. And I love your potential, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah,
And as everybody watching here, pay attention to, we did drop some tips here. James gave some really great tips on what to prepare for. 84% of you are overpaying on your taxes. So James, how can people get a hold of you? What's a good website?
Absolutely. So you can go to aftaxservices.com, right? And that's my website. It gives a lot of information, of course.
Say that again real quick.
aftaxservices.com. So the AF stands for Aquila Financial Tax Services.com. So aftaxservices.com. You can also reach me directly on my line, 817-374-5049. Right?
Beautiful.
You can reach me at any time, and definitely love to assist. Like I said, when it comes down to the game of taxes, we got to plan, right? We got to plan ahead all the time. So that's what a coach does, and that's what I am, a tax coach.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to mention our sponsor again. Go ahead and go to planetduct.com and book for Southern Colorado's best air duct cleaning company. My buddy Brandon, he's an awesome guy, and that's his company. Again, thank you, James, for being an Unconditional Podcast guest. Can't wait to see you on the next show.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for having me.
James, see ya.
Okay.